Okay, as standard, the bike does come with an impressive range of standard features. I particularly like the front and rear heated seats, godsend in the winter. It also comes with the heated grips and the extra driving lights. We have an information panel, and on this bike we also have cruise control. Quite remarkable, but on a long journey it does give your hands a bit of a respite, and I use it quite a lot, certainly a lot more than I thought I would do. The bike has a very good info panel which can tell you all sorts of things, from your tyre pressure monitor to the miles per gallon to the range left in the tank. Obviously there's a clock there, miles per hour or kilometers per hour. Also tells you the air temperature. So there's a lot of good information on there. So currently I'm averaging 46 miles per gallon, which isn't too bad. So this bike tells you the front and rear tyre pressures. We're standing still at the moment, so it won't register anything at the moment. Usually after a couple of minutes they'll start registering. So being the XRT, this has a few customisable and already set computer settings. One of them is sport, one of them is for off-road, even though this is the XRT, the road version. We have a setting for that. We have a setting for rain. We have a setting for road. We have a sport mode, off-road, rain, road, sport. I usually leave it in sport. And you can turn the ABS on and off, and there's all sorts of things you can do. The driving lights are also a very good feature of the bike, and they certainly work when you're trying to filter through traffic. Cars do move over when you see them on. Apologies for the state of the bike, it's not long just come back in after a run. So it's a little bit dirty. I've given it a quick once over, but it's not brilliant. But as you can see, this bike also comes with the ABS. There's the ABS ring and the detector. Another brilliant safety feature of the bike. The XRT rider seat, as well as being heated, is also adjustable. There's two heights, and although it probably looks like a small difference, it does actually make quite a difference to the riding position and even getting on and off the bike. So we'll talk through that. So those keen-eyed viewers amongst you will notice that this has actually got a lot of extra modifications apart from the standard, and we'll talk through them now. Okay, so the first modification I did was actually to change the pannier rack fittings. So when this bike came, the pannier rack was already on. I already had some standard Givi panniers set, so the standard Triumph bars had to come off, and that's just a couple of Allen bolts. Then I bought a fitting kit off eBay. Had to drill some holes, line everything up first obviously, drill some holes, put that on, and now my standard panniers fit on. So now with that standard Givi set, just a case of hooking one to the hooks which were on originally, push them on. And that adds an awful lot of luggage space. As we do a lot of touring on this bike, we've just come back from Ireland recently. We have a comfort grip seat for the Pillion. Stops sliding around. I've had that on pretty much all the bikes I get nowadays. The cheap, simple, good modification. So one of the first modifications I did to the bike was to fit a Optimate charge point, so I can leave the bike on the battery tender, the trickle charger, when it's not in use. So this bike has a lot of extra electrical accessories, and decided to put a little fuse box in place just to power those accessories and have them so they are on the ignition. So I have a little ignition fuse box just here. It's the relay, and that's powered off a feed from the horn at the front. So when the ignition comes on, the horn is powered up. That powers the relay, that powers the little fuse box there. So one of the items that fuse box powers is my Innov dual cam system, which I've got on the bike. The good thing about being ignition relayed is that once I turn the ignition on, the cameras power up, start recording. When I turn the ignition off, cameras power down. So there's no need for me to stop and start cameras, they just do it all automatically. So there's my front mounted camera. And there is my rear mounted camera. So what else is powered by that relay powered fuse box? I have an extra charge point, which also gives me a voltmeter, so I know if the alternator's working, if it's got charge in the bike, along with the standard little DIN plug, which to be honest I don't use, although you can actually buy a little converter. I do have one, but I have no need for one. Obviously the other big thing is the Nav System. Now this is just a simple, cheap eBay sat-nav really, which I've had for about 5 or 6 years, and to be honest it works perfect. Has quite new maps on it and is easily updated. So yeah, that's a big bonus, that one. One of the other early mods I did to the bike was an indicator relocation kit. So the indicators are moved from down here, where they have a tendency to break on any small impact, to up here, so out of the way, and they're also more visible, I think. And the other good thing about it is the location now has an indicator itself in, which is a little added bonus. My particular one has a little Union Jack, but you can just get a plain orange lens. And here we see them in action. Standard location of the indicator now replaced by the flashing light, and the new indicator position nice and high, very visible and protected. So another good worthy mod. One of the other early mods I did to the bike, which I do at all bikes, is fit the front mudguard extender. Try and keep the majority of the road off the engine. It does get covered, so that mudguard fender extender was well worth the couple of pound, and it's easy fit. It's just well, obviously just sticky back plastic, double-sided tape, nice and easy, and nice and secure. And similar to the front, the rear throws up a lot of muck. So I've purchased this Power Bronze rear hugger. Quite expensive for what it is really. I went for the plain matte black version, which is a bit more expensive, but it does a good job. I'm very happy I fitted that one, and again that was quite easy to fit. Now this is quite a big heavy bike, and I did struggle a little bit with getting it on and off the centre stand, and there's a few options you can do. You can ride the back wheel up onto a bit of wood to make it a bit easier to get on and off, Well, what I did is just I extended this little bit of a lever on the foot peg. It's only about an inch, but it makes a big difference. That with a bit of technique makes getting off the centre stand very easy. On motorway speeds, I found there was a little bit of vibration coming through the engine and through the handlebars. I do suffer a little bit from vibration finger. So one of the things I did to help that was to change the standard 16 tooth front sprocket to a 17 tooth front sprocket, and that dropped the revs by maybe even 500 revolutions per minute. Helps the economy as well, and it doesn't really affect the slow speed performance and setting away, which some people said it does do. So the 16 tooth to the 17 tooth front sprocket is another worthy mod, and it's very, very cheap. Well worth doing. To help protect the bike, because it is heavy and I've dropped it once, I have these low engine crash bars fitted. They took all the impact really when I did drop it. It was only a slow speed drop. In fact, it was a 0 mile an hour drop. Quite funny. Just come back from a 1,000-mile tour of Ireland, pulled up on the drive, and I'm not sure if it was just tiredness or elation, but got off the bike and the bike followed me onto the floor. But yeah, low crash bars, good investment. I might even invest in the upper crash bar set. But yeah, good investment. Another simple, cheap modification or investment, especially if you do suffer from vibration in the fingers, is these grip puppies. Just a foam sponge. They're easy to apply. You still feel the heat through the heated grips, and they do reduce that vibration considerably. Another cheap, easy modification to help the comfort of the bike was these adjustable levers, brake lever and clutch lever. Multi-adjustable. Again, they're not very expensive, they're very easy to fit. I've actually done a video which is on YouTube at the moment on how to fit them. These are a mid-length one, and I find them much better than the standard ones, and much better than the short stubby ones I did put on originally. The other modification I've done to the bike to make it a bit more comfortable on touring, cruising, is I added some handlebar risers, multi-adjustable ones. So the handlebars would normally be here. I've lifted them up and back to this location, and after a lot of playing about with the settings, altering the handlebar angle, I find this the best setting for me. It's really comfortable now. This bike just eats motorways, miles, and it's fantastic. When I fitted the handlebar risers, I replaced one of the bolts with this little ram mount. As of yet, I haven't actually used it, but it's there, ready to be used if I need to. Now, I've already mentioned the sat nav that I've added to the bike, and that's been mounted on a homemade bracket, which is actually just a 22mm copper plumbing pipe, bent, drilled for mounting holes and covered with heat wrap, and that's been perfect. There's little to no vibration, and of course it's protected by the screen anyway, so it doesn't have to be very strong. Costs nothing. Superb mod. The sat nav is now mounted nice and high. Just nice cheap mod, brilliant. This is another small modification which helps the wind buffeting of the helmet. It's just a little extension. Again, it's cheap, it's dead easy to fit, and it just deflects that window of your helmet just a little bit more, just makes everything a bit more comfortable when you're tuning. So that's the end of this video. That's the bike described with all the little modifications I've done to it. Each one easy to do, not expensive, and made a big difference to the overall riding of the bike, especially as far as tuning is concerned. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you found it informative and useful. Also means you'll find out when the next video comes out. But for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Safe biking.